when they try to get insurance, the former owner had insurance called for $10,000. These new ones are 80, 90, 100, 120, $150,000 for homeowners insurance. No, this is for real. And no one, don't care how much money you have, you look at that going, why would I pay that? I love the house, but I can't. I probably could pay that, but I'm not going to pay that. Then the middle market and the lower market's like, I can't pay that. Like I can't afford an extra $1,500 a month because I stretched it just for that mortgage to begin with because interest rates were higher and all the other factors that people have gone through.
So today we have Jim Sprouse. He is the entrepreneur with a degree in environmental studies and a certified wildlife mitigation specialist. He is the co-founder of Ember Pro. This is a company that focuses on helping protect homes from wildfire risk.
That's what we do on the weekends right there, Dee. We do the wildlife on the weekends, but during the weekdays, we do the wildfire, yes. I've made that mistake before in public many times.
So
it kind of rolls off the tongue.
Wildfire risk through mitigation strategies and defensible space planning. Jim, Thank you so much for being here and make yourself at home.
Yeah, thank you so much. Great to be on your show. Really looking forward to have a good discussion.
So what led you to a career in wildfire mitigation and home protection?
Yeah. So you mentioned I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I'm also an environmentalist, but I always point out I'm very much a capitalist, right? So in real estate, we're all like, we're all out there, we're all working, we expect to have a profit. So it's not always easy to blend those two things, but it was New Year's Eve. I live in San Diego. There's a preserve we live in a canyon and a preserve. Very blessed to have this beautiful preserve, but they don't do it. You may have heard California's got an issue with, making sure there's not a lot of fuel, which is vegetation and trees, right? We have a lot around. That's why we have these conflagration events and these big fires. So anyway, we had a couple of libations. My now business partner, who I had hired to be a sales leader on my team, I was a revenue officer at a big company, and they were talking with a friend, and I was listening, like, what are you guys talking about? The whole origin was, why can't homes defend themselves? Why we have all these issues, right? We have all these big fires where we lose literally thousands. Or last year in Palisades and Deana was 17,000 structures, right? So, and it was right around when Lahaina in Hawaii was going off. And it was before that, I guess, but it was like, there was just a lot. Town of Paradise had burned down in 2018. My son was actually born up in that hospital. And I'm listening to these guys. I'm like, you guys have a really good idea right here. I'm like, why can't homes defend themselves? That was the question, right? Businesses start with a question or trying to find a solution to something. So we took 2024 and did some research and found that this is actually a pretty, up and coming, pretty nascent market. There was a big need for it, especially around insurance. If you can't get insurance when you're selling homes and transacting, that's difficult. So I had been in insurance for 15 years, so I understood the market, and I thought, man, this is really something here. So we did a lot of R&D throughout that year, and then we launched at the end of 2024, I guess. And then coincidentally enough, the Palisades went up a handful of months later. And so, we went from out of the gates to working with folks to a huge need in not just the LA market, all of Southern California, all of California, and any really fire state, because that event changed things, especially around cost of rebuilds and insurance, which you guys have a different set of perils out there in the Carolinas, right? So you guys have, be it whether it's hail or, very little on the wildfire, but certainly hurricanes, occasional tornado, things like that. But, out here it was a game changer. So we're sitting in the market to help mitigate homes from wildfires. We assess. And mainly, I am a certified wildfire mitigation specialist. I think you noted that. So I geek out on this stuff, fire science. And our passion for our company is to save homes and structures from burning down. That's what we do when we put these wildfire defense systems on them that spray out a very non-toxic, very effective chemical that keeps the fire from coming up and puts out the embers. So, that's how we started, and that's what we do.
That's what I was wondering. Okay, so I want to say it was probably a handful of years ago. I heard the story about some technology changing on how to help save homes in California, that they were actually taking the inside of disposable diapers and using that to spray on homes because it holds the water in, so they mix it with the water, spray it on the homes. And then of course, as the fire gets close, because it's essentially just water holding onto the home, it dries out the water before it attacks the home. It
creates like a gel that keeps the water from, because if you use water, firefighters use water, but they're actively fighting fires, right? That's what water is great for. But in like a lot of people will take pool pumps and they'll drain their pool. But here's just math. It's a 25,000 gallon pool. When you spread it out over a half an acre in fire conditions, that'll dry in 12 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So the problem with that is the fire could be there 2 hours later, a day later. In Palisades or bigger fires, it could be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 days later.
Yeah.
So now you've kind of, deployed every defense you had. And so that's where they started bringing the foams. There's a couple ways, not to go into the deep science of this because there's no reason to go down the rabbit hole for the listener's sake. There's a couple ways. So they're both chemicals and we use a chemical, but we don't mix it with water. Ours is a standalone. And when you spray it, it's actually more effective dry.
Oh, okay.
So we're big believers. It's non-toxic. It's not the red stuff. Everyone knows the red stuff that falls out of the sky is called Phos-Chek. And I go on a lot of podcasts and everything, and I bash it because there's a lot of stuff in there that's hurting the environment. They're creating algae plumes in the ocean because they're fertilizer based. And, we don't want to mess up our ocean. So anyway, I won't go into all that. I'll just say that we use nothing. When I started this environmental studies, I said, we're never going to have a toxic chemical. We're never going to put that out there. So there's very effective. One of them is EPA certified.
Oh,
if you go to our YouTube, I'm actually doing a shot on video on YouTube of one of the fire retardants, and I'm perfectly fine. And I'm great.
Well, I'll have to get that link because I want to put that link in there so people can see that.
Yeah.
What do homeowners need to understand about fire hardening and a defensible space?
It's confusing. I'm doing a talk tonight at an escrow office, and I do quite a bit of it because it's kind of confusing. And I'll just break it down real quick. So there's in wildfires in general, whether you're in Colorado or out here, if you're in a high fire zone or very high, there's a lot of very high fire zones. You have to really pay attention to two things. Mm-hmm. One is the home hardening, to answer that question. Think of the structure itself being hardened, right? So the actual structure, just go with the anatomy of a home. You got a roof. It's got to be Class A, right? Class A is a fire rating. So it can't have wooden shingles, right? Can't do that anymore, right? And there was building code since 2010 that prohibits that. Any new build since 2010, they've got to be Class A. And then the siding has to be Class A. Stucco is Class A. So a lot of homes in California are stucco. But there's still a lot of wood shake sides to homes. And so and then you go down through the vents. The biggest reason homes burn down is not direct flames. 90% of homes burn down because of embers and ember cast. Yeah. So imagine this, Dee, right? There's a huge fire and there's gases and everything going up in the air, hundreds of feet. And then there's huge Santa Ana winds blowing these things mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. And it's landing in a backyard or it's going through vents. So the vents have to be that's another way to harden homes. Your vents have to be 1/16 inch. So it stops the intrusion. If not, if it's just critter guards, they'll go right through there, land inside the house. Now your house is gone from the inside. They'll hit windows. The hardening of a home is you have to have double pane tempered glass. That'll withstand up to 700 degrees. And if it goes through the first pane, you still have a second one versus single pane. Flashing is really important because all these embers will collect all over the place. And then if you've got wood eaves and bad flashing and old wood, it's going to get in there. It's going to start a fire. Now your roof's on fire and it's gone. You're gone. Wow. So that's hardening. And that's where people get confused versus creating a defensible space. There's a law in California, AB 3074, and in real estate, you actually have to get, if you're in a fire or high fire zone, you have to get a form filled out showing that you're disclosing everything you know about your home, whether it's hardened and have defensible space, and have to get that signed off by a fire marshal. Okay. So it's a transaction thing now too. It's AB 38. And so what that says is you have to have your home disclose if your home's hardened, and then also this zone 0. So it's literally clearing 5 feet away from around your house, all because of embers coming and landing within that 5 feet. So there are a lot of misconceptions. People don't quite understand it. That's why I do a lot of speaking about. It's just, hey, harden your home and create defensible space. I tell people, put us out of business. Go ahead, put my company out of business. Go ahead and do those things. Go ahead and do it. Please do, because again, we don't want homes burned down, but people love their plants, man. It's emotional. Every time we truck roll up to a house, there's one spouse is coming out going, she or he's never going to cut down these plants. We love them. It's like, okay, I get it. It's emotional.
Well, I mean, and we do it here. I mean, every time we have a new home built, I literally talk to clients about They don't like, the builder doesn't like
Mm.
to put plants where they're supposed to be. So at least 3 to 5 feet away from the structure, because they're little plants. They can't afford the big plants. So they buy
Right.
the little plants and they bring them closer to the house. So every
Yeah.
time we close on a new construction home, I tell them, I said, you really need to dig those up and scoot them out another 2 feet, because they're too close to the house, and by the time you know that they're too close to the house, they're too big and it's too late. You're now
It's going to
cutting
cost you a
them
lot
out.
of money. Yeah.
You
Or going to
got
cost you a lot of money
it. Got it.
And with us, it's that 5 feet to just create that barrier, that zone. So now that being said, our systems treat that. So our systems will deploy the chemical and that's what they'll hit. And so it'll keep it from, you know, either catching the home on fire or heating up that window to where it becomes an issue. And an ember can come right through that window too, break out that window. Yeah.
So what are some important steps that people can take to reduce their risk around their homes? You already said that we need to clear out that 5 feet. Is that the
That's
only
really the
step?
biggest one. I mean, there's a few. That's called zone 0. Zone 1 is up to 5 to 30 feet. But when you
Okay.
look at the behavior of fire, radiation, which is not radiation as we think of it, it's just radiative heat that comes
Mhm.
and, that's what will also combust things, right? It's just heat with all the other elements. And so, but after 30 feet, it's kind of hard to lose because of heat. I mean, you have to have a pretty raging fire, right? So it is important, but outside of that, I mean, once you got your home hardened and you got your 5 feet, tree branches, watching tree branches coming too close to the home,
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy. Like the people are freaking out. You can't even have your garbage cans within 5 feet. So people are like, where in California, a lot of homes, you can just reach out and touch your neighbor, like,
Yeah.
give a high five. They're that close.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of these developments. We don't have the lots. So like, where are you going to put your garbage can? There's no place to put them. You can't put them in your garage. They stink. It gets
Yeah.
hot out here. It's like, in people, because they're combustible. They're petroleum based. Anything that's combustible must be removed. And this is the law that's starting to be enforced in these next couple of years. So, but there's, be smart. Don't put a wood pile next to your house. Look at fundamental things. When you start putting, it drives us crazy because we put an eye on everything else. Everywhere we go, we're looking at it, thinking there's a hazard there. And, but here's an example. I don't know if you guys have a lot of Italian cypress trees, the big, tall Italian cypresses. They're like flamethrowers around houses because
Yeah.
they're all dry inside. And so when you watch videos of them going up, and they usually have like a bunch of them, like, next to each other for privacy. But you watch what they do, and then people plant them right next to their house, and they go right up to wooden eaves. And it's like, wow, that's gone. That's a foregone conclusion. That house will be gone 100% when embers come in and land in there. So, there's just common sense. Then there's the nitty gritty. Some people are getting really good. Like we serve on fire safe councils and we're educating people. But yeah, I mean, just paying attention is the biggest thing, and really looking and go like, oh, wow, I've got a bunch of cushions stacked up again underneath this huge window. And if embers land on it, that's going to heat up this window. Maybe that window is going to break now, So things like that. Common
Well, I mean,
sense.
it really is. It is common sense, because when you stop and think about, all right, if you're standing, you go camping and you start your own little fire so you can cook. And you
Yep.
start to think about it, you rotate because it gets hot on that one side. So if you have something there that doesn't move, and you're
Right.
continuing, it will combust at some point. And yeah, we have Leland, we call them Leland cypresses here, but it's the same kind of thing. They grow 3 feet
Yeah.
in a year. People use them for privacy screening. They
Yep.
they get they get diseased really easily, but they're a cheap, really fast growing tree. And those are. But we talk about, cutting down branches over roofs anyways, because we talk
Yep.
about, trying to save your
Keep
home,
them from falling in a wind or
that
event.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's the same. It is the same precautions we're
We have
taking.
perils everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's common sense, right? It's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, if there's a big, and the branch might be not that, might not that alive anymore. It's a heavy branch and it's over my house.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But going back to your fire analogy, you make a really good point now. So people understand embers, right? So let's just you have a nice sized campfire and you stoke it up and you see those embers, or you hear that pop and the pops and it comes out, right? That's what happened. Now imagine 10 houses on fire, and some of the stuff burning inside the house is worse than just wood, right? And
Yeah.
now imagine all those trees going up and popping. And now imagine that cyclone going up, like you guys might have in a tornado every now and again out there. Imagine just being hot gases with all of that debris that's an ember on fire being thrown out. That's what creates it. People, like when the Palisades went up and there were so many communities affected, you'll see a huge fire, but and that is the campfire. It's just a ginormous campfire. But
Sure.
why does a community a mile away catch on fire? Because those embers came over, they landed in that backyard, they landed in that Italian cypress, they landed on those cushions, they went through the vents in the home because it wasn't hardened. And now you've got that event and all your fire resources are over there and you got an event over here. That's why wildfires are crazy. It's like, it's like a tornado that's going through multiple miles. You're going to have a lot of devastation in different areas. And it's hard to, how do you respond? How do first responders get there? So best thing is precaution, or put both and put one of our wildfire defense systems on.
So how does the wildfire and the risk, how is that impacting insurance today?
Oh, crazy. Oh, it's a horrific mess. It's a crisis. California Association of Realtors asked me to come up and speak at one of their events up in Monterey. And I was like, sure, because I enjoy it. I enjoy educating people. I'm a former educator. I'm like, yeah, let's just let people know, like on this podcast, right? People now know home hardening and defensible space are two different things, both very important.
Yeah.
So I'm talking with realtors, and my message up there was like, it's incumbent upon everybody here to, when we talk about defensible space, stop. When your clients are complaining, stop being on that bandwagon. Say, look, hold on. There's a reason why. Yeah. Because realtors out here in California, y'all want, I'm talking like I'm from out there in the Carolinas, y'all want homes to sell. There's 17,000 less homes to sell up there, right? And people are, their homes are falling out of escrow because, so when I'm up there, Carr was calling it an insurance crisis, literally. They're like, we're in a crisis mode. And I'll flat out say this, we have a broken commission in California. Our insurance commission, Larry, I can't wait that you're gone this year. Honestly, I'll say that publicly. You're not helping us. You're not putting things in here to help us. Transactions. I have friends. We live, there's some affluence out here in San Diego. There's some homes being sold for 5, 6, 10 million, $15 million. I had a friend that told me, this is last year at some point, he's like, look, he goes, I've lost so much money because of deals falling out of escrow. Not because the people didn't want the house. I was done. The hard part was over. Getting the buyer, getting them matched up, negotiating everything. They said at the end, when they tried to get insurance, the former owner had insurance call for $10,000. These new ones are $80, $90, $100, $120, $150,000 for homeowners insurance. No, this is for real. And no one, don't care how much money you have, you look at that going, why would I pay that? I love the house, but I can't. I probably could pay that, but I'm not going to pay that. Then the middle market and the lower market's like, I can't pay that. Like I can't afford an extra $1,500 a month because I stretched it just for that mortgage to begin with because interest rates were higher and all the other factors that people have gone through. It's like, so insurance is absolutely crazy. The major ones are not writing. And if they are writing, it's few and far between. They've got major capacity issues. They will not put, and you guys have capacity issues with, they won't put too much insurance, total insurable value in one area because of a big peril and big losses. So now let's say you got lucky. Like we have a client in Rancho Santa Fe. It's a nice area. And I was so surprised. I'm like, how did you get that insurance? And I guess he just knew I don't know if he talked to the underwriters or what. I'm like, that's amazing because I was surprised they even wrote in there because of capacity and the rate that he got. I'm like, that's just amazing. So it is hard. It's causing a lot of disruption in the market. I would say we're going to have some more challenges. I work a lot with the carriers. We're a certified vendor of Cincinnati insurance companies. One of the people from Pure was just out there, like their science guy, fire science guy was out. Really awesome guy. Jay was out there on site to see what we do. And so we're working hard to say, look, I'll educate, do the two things, defensible space, hardening. We'll put our systems on. If we put our systems on, will you give them a preferred rating? Will you bring it down to where, they can afford it because they've invested in that asset? So long-winded answer, it's a wreck. It's probably going to get worse for a little bit. I'm the bearer of bad news sometimes, but we have to get out of it. The only way to get out of it is to create a competitive market. Who creates the competitive market? The homeowners do. Right? That's the only way to get a competitive market. Everyone's got to create that or else the insurers, you can't really blame them. And I'll get off the soapbox on this for one second, but this is a lot of what I talk about. I'll be talking about this tonight. They have lost the insurance companies. Everyone wants to blame the insurance companies. Oh, they're not. before Palisades, they've lost net 6.1% of the premiums received. They lost.
Mm.
How do we expect them to continue in business if you're losing money?
Yeah.
That's the crisis. They're losing money. People need insured. We don't have a great plan at the top. It's a mess,
So
D.
how do we improve insurability for clients? I mean,
Hardened home and defensible space.
Yeah.
People will still have our systems, but we won't sell nearly as many. I mean, that's fine. There's a run to everything in life.
Yeah.
Defensible space and home hardening. Just do that. Everybody go do that in California. That's what you need to do.
Because
we do that, and
that'll
we're
help.
going to 80% plus of the homes will be reduced.
Okay. So what new building codes or regulations should homeowners and buyers be aware of?
Well, the builders have, it's called CWC. It's making sure everything's Class A, and that's been around since 2010. It was called 7A back then, but government likes to change things all the time to make it confusing for us, right, when you think you get it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's the same. It's a hardening of the structure. Okay. But the biggest thing to answer that question is this AB 3074, which is defensible space. People have really, I look at my house like I'm guilty. Here's an example. Wooden fences touching a home. Most people have wooden fences, or they might have a vinyl fence, still combustible. Those have to be replaced. In City of San Diego, they're giving us until 2029, and then they're going to say those have to be fully replaced. It could be expensive. Now you got to look at, man, not everybody can afford that. People can't afford it. It's kind of shocking, the pricing of stuff out here. That's another crisis, is our rebuild costs have gone through the roof. Yeah. Like, you want your head to spin? Upwards of $1,500 per square foot for rebuilds.
Oh, wow.
That's a big number.
Enormous.
That's bigger than that in certain parts of LA. Bigger than that.
And not everybody can afford like a powder coated aluminum fence, which is what it looks like, wrought iron. But if you're looking for something that isn't combustible and you still get a fencing, there is no privacy fencing. Now, and back over there, I don't know if y'all do any kind of privacy fencing, but powder coated.
Can you imagine how expensive that is? I mean, that's, well, and the good news is it's 5 feet. So if you just take the adjoining part to the home, then you can have the run and it's okay. It's not as safe, but as long as, so they're not making you do the whole entire fence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is definitely an option where you're only doing the sides that are touching the house.
It's a lot more, but still, even out here, if you're not going to do it yourself, or bring in a handyman and buy the materials and all that stuff, you're talking $5,000-$6,000 for that. For that coated aluminum. Like, it's expensive. Yeah. It's not cheap. So. Yeah, I'd say that, to answer the question, is just really the defensible space. It's vitally important. And then the other thing on the home hardening is the vents. The vents have got to be 1/16 inch mesh. And you can do that you can do that.
I know I didn't think about it. I mean, it's not even a thought in my head about, you should think about all of the vents, the boots that you have, the openings that you have in your home that you need to defend.
Absolutely.
For things like
there's a lot of tile roofs, so those bird stops are missing. Embers go right up through there, and then how old is that laminate? How old is the membrane underneath? Is it fire rated? Or are they just collecting underneath there, and you have a bunch of other dead material where now it's that wood, and what kind of conditions that wood in? Yeah. This is why when you see. I mean, Paradise was a little bit different. There was the whole town burned down, but they were up in the pines. My son was actually born up in the hospital that's no longer there, but they were in the pines. Yeah. That whole community, there was a lot of deaths. I mean, there was no egress. It was there was egress, but people were dying, trying to evacuate. It was horrifically bad. Now you look at Palisades in Deana, they didn't have the big trees around. They had a lot of fuel, but that was their own fault. It was all around their house. They had vines on their house. They had all this. Yeah. And, that was home to home. That was a lot of it was home to home. And that's a conflagration. It's a word that a lot of people don't say very often, but that's just when there's a community is basically on fire. And it's just jumping. One house is a ladder to the next one. And so, when you take those precautions, and a lot less of that.
How are these changes shaping the future of homeownership in those areas?
Hopefully make it more affordable, because, so when you look at, we say rebuild costs, but it's also new build costs, because now go up in LA and let's say you were planning on building your dream home, and then last year things went up and it changed everything. And now you're trying to get that contractor who's trying to get as many jobs as possible. So it's just the built community. I'd say this, I don't know if I said it today, but there's two things that aren't going to change. One is we have, they're called the WUI, wildland urban interface. Now we could use wildland right there, wildlife, wildland, right? So we could use a little bit different. So the wildland urban interface, and that's just urban sprawl going out into the canyons and everything else, right? So we built there, we've built in the mountains and the canyons, and we're going to continue. That's not changing, right? The second thing is the climatic conditions. And I don't care if you believe in global warming, or I could care less, right? People can have their thoughts. If it's methane and CO2 versus, hey, it's just a cycle, whatever, it's drier and hotter. So those two things aren't changing. And we're going to have just a lot of those challenges and everything. So the built community, we need more housing, and we need to be smart about it. Fortunately, the new ones will have to be within code. So they're going to be automatically hardened, and they're automatically going to have defensible space.
Okay.
So the new communities, and they're starting to, like with us, we're actually building our systems into the home. So it's not an internal fire sprinkler system. It's still external where it points out.
Yeah.
But we put PEX piping before the drywall's in. We've done a few of these up in Palisades now. There's only, by the way, 38 homes that have been almost built up there in 16 months. That's how bad it is.
Oh, wow.
16 months, 17,000 homes. 8,000 was in that area, and 38 or so up. Like, it's bad. Yeah. But the few that we've got a few of these that we started building them internally. So when they put the drywall in, there's PEX, instead of putting copper piping on the outside of the structure, it's PEX internal with, we stub out heads. So that's another thing. Homes are literally, they're being built. Like we talked about 3.5 years ago, whatever, of like, why aren't homes defending? They actually are now.
Okay.
On the new build side. So yeah, we need more homes in California. We have a housing crisis before all this.
Well, and that's the way it is across the country. There is a housing crisis everywhere, even in
Why
the Carolinas.
Is that? Why is it like us? It's politics, but well, permits, but.
So what happened was, and I explained this to most folks, in 2005, 6, and 7, everything was being built, everything was booming. And of course, the pricing went outrageous. 2008, the correction happened. With that correction, just here in the Charlotte metro region, we lost 358 builders just in our area. We have 16 counties that we cover, and we lost over 300 builders who went out of business. So you still have the big builders, D.R. Horton, Mattamy, MI, True. You've got the big builders that came in and have survived.
Right.
But from 2008 to about 2018, so we had 10 years. We only saw like True Homes here, D.R. Horton. These were the only ones that were building for about 4 or 5 years from 2008 to about 2013. But overall, we lost about 10 years. We lost 1 million homes coast to coast over a 10-year period. We are now 10 million homes behind where we're supposed to be. So that's why there's the housing crisis. So just in California, and I say it here too, God isn't making any more dirt. So if you can buy dirt, that's the best thing to do. I mean, shoot, what was the country guy made a song all about? Buy dirt. And it's true because, we now have sprawl. So you'll have a city and then it starts to expand. You were talking about going into the canyons. Ours is going out into the country. And that's where everybody goes. But we now have, Charlotte as a whole is supposed to have about 25,000 listings per month. Last month we had 11. That should mean that we're in a
We'll back up. City of Charlotte.
City of Charlotte. We're supposed to have 25,000 listings per month just to take care of native people. And we had 11,000.
11,000. Oh, okay. I was thinking 1,100, not 11.
No, 11,000.
11,000. Okay.
We had 11,000 homes.
That's not even 30. That's
not even half.
40%. Yeah, 45.
Not even half.
That's, wow.
But because the interest rates rose with it, we now have this kind of faux balanced market that we're dealing with. Because when the interest rates were 3%, we only had 2,000 homes. That's why everybody was just throwing money at sellers. Right. I want to buy your house. Now that we're starting to come above water again, and we're starting to get these homes back on the market, we're starting to see some naturalization back to our regular business model. We're starting to see people are negotiating closing costs. People are negotiating repairs, where in 2021, 22, it was, I just want your box. I don't care what condition it's in.
I'll take it.
So,
yep.
Exactly. Yeah. So that housing crisis still is there. It's present, but it's less in your face because the interest rates have pushed some of the buyers out because they no longer can afford. And of course, then the pricing of the homes has come up, which is now causing people to slow down in their purchasing as well. So it's not just California, it is coast to coast. I haven't heard of very many places that say they are balanced with their inventory and with the interest rate and with their buyer population. I believe there's a couple in the Midwest, but that's about the only thing that I've heard of.
We have a housing affordability issue across the board. I mean, it's flat out. Like I have a 20-year-old and he's back from college and, you know, I'm thinking, I've got another one that's going to be graduating high school. I'm like, what are they? You need to have $280,000 a year of family income to buy a house out here.
Yeah.
AI is taking a lot of, okay, we could start going down some rabbit holes, but you know, AI is taking some jobs that are coming up. Even like my friends that are attorneys, you know, I ask them, is that a career that you want for your children? They're like, how are they going to get entry level? Because the only way as an attorney, you can specialize at some point, you know, doctors. And my daughter, fortunately, she's got a lot of brains. And I'm like, surgeon, dental surgeon, any kind of like whatever you can do tactily or the trades, you know, and it's like push the trades and watch out because that's another huge disruptor. So now, you know, we've got these homes that are, whether it's for us, it's insurance. Like, again, it's a combination. It's everything you said, plus we have outrageous insurance costs. Although it's not the worst. California, as much as we complain, Florida's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Florida, you know, there's some other ones that are pretty bad as far as the cost of it. Yeah. So yeah, I would say we probably don't have the inventory maybe as much because we don't, and I don't know all the numbers that you do like that. That's amazing, you know, data set you just gave right there. But I do know that, you know, there's always a push to get more building going on. The people that are running for governor, if you look out here, Newsom's going to be gone. And then a lot of the people, at least I'm following, they're like, hey, we need to build. We need to free up building. We need to get people permitted. You know, LA, there's a lot of, you probably hear people going after Karen Bass, the mayor, and like, you know, all the politicking that goes on, which is ridiculous. But the people that are in the mix of it, they're like, no, these permits are not coming. It's taking way too long, you know, or I'm fighting with my insurance company.
Yeah.
Or even worse, we'll get off this subject already. We don't have to go back to it. When you can't get insurance in California, you have to go on the FAIR plan.
Yeah, which is state run. Yep.
To fall back. And then there's maxes on that. And there's all kinds of riddled with issues. And a lot of lawsuits happen. People don't realize smoke damage is a huge part of the claims. Like I heard 72%, like just from smoke. Like, hey, we didn't lose my house, but now I need all this smoke. And it's like smoke damage needs to be remediated. And it's like huge.
Well, it wasn't until I got into this, I actually sold a home that had caught fire once. And there actually is a way that if a building material, piece of wood, a bandsill, floor joist, ceiling joist has had less than 40% damage, it can be left in place. I didn't know that. That's what the ruling is here. So, Mike, who determines what 40% is?
Yeah. How are you doing? You putting more weight on it? You banging on it? You putting your ear? How are you like?
That was one of the things that I had asked. I was like, well, how do you, because we opened up a attic and all of the timbers were completely charred. I mean, they were just black.
That's crazy.
So I was going in there and the inspector that we had was testing all of these ceiling joists, these framing trusses. And he was like, as long as it hasn't lost 40% of its stability, then it can stay in place. And
so how was he testing it? I'm just so curious.
That was based on SI, and he was banging on it.
Okay, so I'm just convincing him like hanging on it, like man, this one's like. But like sandbags, like we're hanging sandbags or something.
That was one of the things that I had no idea of because of the simple fact of hadn't run across it, but we did actually sell that home.
It just sounds like an alarmingly high number, percentage wise. It just sounds alarmingly like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's at the top. They already know the weight of the roof, so they kind of factor in. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
I would think about it. If you're standing on a board that has a cut in it, and you have to cross the Grand Canyon, but that board has 38%. It's had a defect in its stability up to 38%. Would you walk over it?
I'm not buying that house. I'm not buying that house. I don't care. Like, what's that going to cost me long term? What is that? Yeah. What is that? When does it need to be replaced? Oh, I'm replacing the whole truss. I'm replacing the roof. And oh my gosh. And I'm not going to, no.
So that's kind of wild. That was an interesting one to learn. Yeah. So when we go back to Ember Pro, what does it take to build a strong, successful team in such a specialized industry like what you have?
People. Everything's people. Mm-hmm. We use something. Actually, I had my coffee cup. I didn't realize it's EOS. It's called Traction. There's a book called Traction that I've been a subscriber of for a decade. And it's about how to properly scale companies, and there's principles in it. You start with your core value system. You only hire people on your core value system. So focus, passion, and we have an amazing duty of care with our people. And it's duty of care to us is defined as, am I making your job easier or my job easier? And the fourth one would be meritocracy. And as a team, we believe, you can argue. I'm the CEO of this, so ultimately a decision has to be made, but argue it out. I want to hear all sides of it, so there's merit, there's focus, there's passion, there's duty of care. And so we hire people that are like that. And I'll say sometimes you have to go through some zeros to get to a hero, even down to our subs, right? So we do a lot of subcontracting. We're GCs, but we'll bring in the pipe layers and the electricians, and we'll have our guy on site to make sure it's all done. Or sometimes I'm out there digging a trench, that's okay. Like, you go out there and you do it,
Yeah, work's got to get done. It doesn't matter who does it.
Work's got to get done. That's right. So I'd say that's the biggest thing, D, is just, the people, and then systems and processes. It takes years to build it, but our model is we're going to be opening more offices up and down the state, and then go out to the West, Colorado and, Montana. And then we don't know if we're going to franchise or just open them up under our corporation, but we'll figure that out. But we need to have the set systems and processes, proper communication. But I mean, people, everything is about people. So EOS really pushes a way to not just hire the right people, but give the proper KPIs, hold them accountable, making sure people understand where they're at, give them corrective actions and training. I'm a former trainer, Fortune 500 trainer. So I love training people, working with folks, but, holding them accountable. A lot of people don't want to do that. My partner and I, people know, well, it's okay if we argue. It's fine. We're good. We are good. We'll argue in the boardroom, and then boardroom being the dashboard of the car. Yeah. A lot of times we're on the phones, but we always get better as a result. And so I'd say that's it. We're fortunate. Fortunate and unfortunate. We have an amazing market right now. We have a 0.0, we don't even know what it is, 0.01% market penetration. Mm-hmm. And there's more people popping up left and right. We know that. I'm used to it. There's going to be a compression in pricing, and we're already pricing for that. We're very fair price. We're a great priced product compared to a lot of the competitors. So we're looking at the future. We understand where we're at right now, and being on with these large insurers saying, look, we understand it's difficult for people to get insurance. We understand we're not writing. We understand the cost of it. Of course they do. They're the ones giving the quotes, right? They get that. And it's not that they don't want to. They just don't want to keep losing their butt over it, right? Yeah. So it's like, we want to be there. And your system is going to help save homes, and highly effective, right? The data that came out of LA, highly effective. There was some data out of Australia, highly effective. These things will 95% plus of the systems tested are saving homes. Yeah. So it's an asset that not everyone can afford, but we're bringing the pricing down and trying to capture more of the market. The insurers are starting to like it. So we look at the next 2, 3, 4 years as being a great time for us. And we get to save more homes from burning down, So yeah, there's probably a few other components to our scaling, but I can't say enough about it. It's just who you associate with and who you bring on the team. Because that's a customer's experience. That's everybody, Yeah.
So with the industry that you're in, how do you create a business that generates repeat clientele, or even, longtime trust would come as soon as somebody puts their faith in you?
So I love this. Thank you for asking that question. So we spend a lot on, meta ads, Google, whatever, the typical, we
Yeah.
posting social. We've got a couple of marketing folks that are, but there's nothing better than gaining a customer and getting the referrals from them. Every customer we've had has been a referral machine. They feel better and they're starting to because they have choices now. They can go with us, they can go with a competitor, but they really appreciate the core values we come from,
Yeah.
the service we give, the duty of care, and our pricing. And I mean, there's this one guy in LA, we've done 5 other jobs because of him. I mean, that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
In a very short time frame. We're actually installing one right now and another one next week.
Yeah.
And so, that's been huge. Social proof. I've been preaching on it. I used to teach classes on it. You got to do the right things to get people to say the right things.
Yeah.
And so they don't just say it without doing it. Plus, everyone knows everything with everything online now. Everyone knows everything. So a guy we're just getting done. We're not quite done yet with the build out in La Jolla. Everyone knows La Jolla, California.
Mm-hmm.
Overlooking the ocean's beautiful. We're doing his neighbor. And then we're actually got with 2 more people, and one of them is in a historic home. So it'd be our first time doing a society, like historical society home, and you can't touch it. So we have to do a ground system pointing at it, and they got single pane windows. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, that's all just word of mouth and referrals. So yeah, I think just do the right things and people see it, and they associate with the same people that have the need for it and can afford it. So
it makes a difference in our industry. I mean, I have 65% of my business is either referral based, and like I just spoke to a client. I've sold her 2 of her homes, and we're getting ready to sell her 3rd one. So
I love that, and that speaks to you. That speaks to what you bring, and horrible when people don't get repeat customers. Like you should be looking in the mirror and figuring that out. But to hear that, and 65% is an outrageously great number. That's awesome. Truly.
What key habits or principles have you contributed, or what key habits and principles have contributed most to the success as an entrepreneur?
Hard work, strong communication, and efficiency. Nothing replaces hard work, but you got to be efficient. You got to do work. It's not just working harder. A lot of people work hard, but it's like work smart. So build your efficiencies, understand it, communicate well, and then put your hand up and say, I screwed up. That's part of EOS. It's just like, hey, you're allowed, dude. Meritocracy, you're better off just saying, that was my bad. I am sorry. Made that mistake once, not going to do it again. Now you start making it 3 times and there's issues, but start questioning your intelligence at that point. Or just maybe you don't have the focus or the passion, and maybe you're not a good team player, right? Maybe that's not the best fit for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, those things, and there's probably more, but it just boils down to it, showing up every day, doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's society in general. Answer your phone, call people back, tell people no. I've learned how to say no very well over the years. I used to not be good at it, but I'm better at saying no, I can't. Sorry. I would like to, but I can't, for whatever reason. Physical limitations, bandwidth, whatever.
What advice would be most valuable for somebody who's looking to build a purpose-driven business?
Wow, you have the best questions I think I've had on any podcast. This is awesome. Find your passion. That's why we put passion in there. I mean, we are passionate about saving homes from burning down. Like if you want purpose, you've got to, I feel bad for people that hate their jobs. I really do.
Yeah. I
really feel bad for them because you have to show up for at least 8 hours a day, and just showing up, whether you work or not while you're there, that's up to your employer, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I'm trying to instill in my kids, test it out, test drive some things. Like my daughter's looking at schools, and a couple of them have this co-op program where you go and work for a little bit. Like do that, test it. If you like it, awesome. Then give it everything.
Yeah.
Show up every day and just do your best. I still have, it's probably up there. My dad he raised me through scouting, and the Boy Scout motto, do your best.
Yeah.
And it was like, I still have his coin from the 50s. It's just do your best.
Yeah.
Just do your best. But it's hard when you hate it.
Yeah.
It's like bad analogy, but there's divorce out there. Obviously, I think it's 50% more plus now. But it's like, I don't blame people. Like being something you want to be in, like being a profession you want to be in. This is a lot of your life. If you want to live it miserable, I'm not here to live it miserable. I've been in some stuff that was tough. I was in an industry for 6 years that was brutal and almost took my soul.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm out. There's decisions to be made, and you just have to make them. I gave it everything. So give it your all. But, to be purposeful, I think it starts with that you have the desire. Everything is a desire. everything starts with desire. And then there's this guy, Bob Berg. I
Oh,
love it.
yes.
You know, Bob Berg, he's
I
amazing,
do.
right?
Yeah.
So the success formula is have the desire, get the knowledge, apply it, and be persistent. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And there's this little book. It was called The Success Formula. I bought hundreds of them at a time and I hand them out to people. I'm like, this is it. You have a desire, get the knowledge, apply it, be persistent.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't
The
change.
Go-Giver. The Go-Giver was the one that got
Oh,
me.
yeah.
I gave that one out everywhere. I mean, I gave it for Christmases for years. Yeah.
Was he Winning Without Intimidation as well? Remember that one? I think that was him.
You
he
also me a couple of books I'm going to go and look for.
Well, okay, so I saw when I mentioned my 15 years in Fortune 500. I was with Aflac. Everyone knows the Doug Aflac.
Yeah.
You know? So we built agencies and we'd bring speakers in. We brought Bob Berg in. There was probably 800 or 900 people in the room.
Wow.
And he had this book. So I forget the name of the book, but it was about how to remember things. I'm not even kidding. And he had he used association. But so he did this. And I knew pretty much everyone in the room, like it was my organizations and I knew other organizations, and it was a mix of people. And he started his speech off. He goes, if I came up and introduced myself and shook your hand before I started today, please stand. I'm not kidding. There was 75 people standing, 50 to 75. There was a lot.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay. And he literally went through everybody's name, first and last name.
Oh, wow.
He only messed up 2 people. And the weird thing was he switched them. It's Ryan Olson and Mike Booth, because they were both managers on my teams. And I know them both. I'm friends with both of them still. And somehow he just mixed up their names and he called them. Other than that, he was spot on. We just sat there and he hadn't even started doing his speech yet. We were like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So, and he did my name, and later it was Sprouse, but Sprouts, he saw Sprouts on my face. And then the first name is something like, I don't know how he did it, but again, I don't remember, but it was pretty impressive. Yeah. But going back to the success formula, be passionate, gain the knowledge, apply it, be persistent. It's amazing. It's amazing what you can do when you do that.
Oh yeah. When you apply yourself, it's amazing what you can come up with.
Yeah.
So what's the future of wildfire mitigation and home protection? What do you see?
I see the insurance industry really fully adopting this. That's what I'm working a lot of my time on.
Okay.
But not a lot, but a percentage of my time talking with the executives, talking with the underwriters, they usually have a person that really handles for high net worth homes. And unfortunately right now, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Mid to high, that they're looking, because it's huge asset bases. That's a large part of their portfolio. And they want to protect those homes more so, right? Because there's a high total insurable value, a TIV on them. So really them saying, okay, yes, we're going to give you a preferred rate, or yes, we're going to discount, if you will, because you invested in that. And I see that coming. Last week, we had 2 cases where we got that. Now, the homeowners didn't go with it because they were still outrageously priced high, but at least they brought it down to compare to what it would have been, because they had the proposal to put one of our systems on. One of them actually, I think, already had the system on. So I see that really working well. I think people will start to adopt these because their education's coming. People are getting hit over the head with defensible space, home hardening. On this podcast, we educated people. So I think that will help out. But, again, I already said it. People are already built and will continue to build in the WUI, and the climatic conditions are getting worse and worse. So we're going to keep having fires. Yeah. Hopefully we don't have the ones like we did, but that's not going to go away. It's just how we mitigate. And I tell people this, show me a better way. The drones, I'm sorry, drones you can't fly drones, and you can't deploy private firefighting for the very rich and wealthy and affluent. Okay, that's not a solution for everybody. Private firefighters go in there, no, that's not. So show me another way. Yeah. Right. I looked at something called Fire Dome this morning. My friend's like, who's Fire Dome? I'm like, they're literally catapulting balloons that have retardant in it, and they dropping. I'm like, that's interesting. That sounds pretty neat. But it's like this big missile launcher. I'm like, maybe that'll work. I don't know. But right now it's firefighters, first responders, and they're dropping the red crap out of the sky, which I think I already talked about on this. Sorry, fast check, but check out your chemicals. You're creating algae plumes. We keep buying it because there's big government contracts. I'll call you guys out right now. That's how things work. Big government contracts. You guys will keep doing it. Yeah. And, look, I think they've cleaned up their chemicals, and I'm not going to, say much more than that, other than you got SDS sheets on anybody. So do your math, do your research. And in the past, I know there's a lot of heavy metals and stuff, and not just that, but other retardants, which is also tough for the environment, for our firefighters, carcinogens, there's sicknesses that result, and that's horrible.
So what should homeowners and communities be doing now to prepare for what's coming ahead?
Defensible space, and number one thing, check your vents. Check your vents. That's at least you can do it. You can hire a handyman, and you can buy the stuff on Amazon. It's cheap.
Yep.
Check your vents, and then defensible space. Be smart. If you've got a big thing of kindling wood next to your home that has wood siding underneath a big bay window, wake up. Be smart. Oh, go to our website. There's a free comprehensive guide. It's like I put it together last year. It's like 50 some pages. It's literally everything, including your evacuation list. Oh. It's amazing. If you got dogs or older people, they need medication. You need to have this stuff prepped, ready to go. Because if not, you're gonna be scrambling. So, all that stuff. What you don't want to lose your home, because we can talk about the cost of everything. What's the cost of displacement? Yeah. What are those people paying to rent a place up there?
Yeah.
What is the value of the things that you had for all those years and you can never replace? What is the unspoken value? Like, so don't lose your home. Just go do the guide and then give it to your neighbor, because that's the next person you need to worry about. Community immunity happens when people start educating each other. So go give your neighbor that guide, and then, pass it along and start at your own home. Defensible space, fence. And, I get if you have an older roof, but every 25 years out here, you need to replace them anyway. So now when you replace them, they're just going to be Class A. So eventually you're going to have to do it. Get a HELOC loan. I don't know. And when you do that, call us, because we can put our system on at the same time.
Jim, I have been so educated in so many different ways. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
We've got all your socials, and like you said, go to your website, get your fire prevention guide. I so greatly appreciate that gift today. And that's a gift for everybody. Jim, thank you again so much.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure.
Thanks for joining me on Make Yourself at Home. I hope you found insights and inspiration to help you navigate your real estate journey with confidence. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share this show with your friends, because everyone deserves to feel at home. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and keep making moves that matter.